Ever wondered what it's like to stay in a place where the past never lets go? These 15 haunted hotels across the UK are filled with dark histories and ghostly legends that will chill you to the bone. Dare to step inside and hear the terrifying tales that still haunt their walls? 1. The Talbot Hotel, Northamptonshire. Once a grand retreat, the Talbot Hotel is infamous for being haunted by the ghost of Mary, Queen of Scots. The tragic story behind her death still lingers in the air here. She was executed in 1587, and many believe her restless spirit haunts the hotel to this day. Guests have reported hearing soft whispers echoing through the halls, a sensation of being watched, and a chilling drop in temperature near the old fireplace where she was said to have taken her last meal. Some claim to have seen her ghostly figure draped in black, wandering the corridors late at night. The sense of sorrow that pervades the atmosphere is palpable, an eerie reminder of a queen's untimely end. Many visitors have even described waking up to the feeling of cold hands brushing against their faces, as if Mary herself is still reaching out from beyond. 2. The Ragged Cot, Gloucestershire. The Ragged Cot Inn is a 15th century establishment with a hauntingly tragic tale. Locals say the spirits of a mother and her child, who fell to their deaths after being pushed down the stairs, haunt the inn. Witnesses have described hearing the sound of crying and soft footsteps on the wooden stairs, even when no one is around. It is said that after the inn's landlord was arrested, their spirits became restless, endlessly wandering the staircase where their tragic fate occurred. On some nights, you can even feel an icy chill creep up your spine, as if the very walls remember their torment. One guest was even said to have seen a shadowy figure clutching a child's hand, silently walking up the staircase, vanishing before they reached the top. 3. Ye Old King's Head, Chester. Dating back to the 17th century, Ye Old King's Head in Chester is steeped in mystery and paranormal activity. Guests often report encountering the ghost of a female innkeeper who, according to legend, met a violent death at the hands of a jealous lover. People claim to hear her voice calling out for help in the dead of night, and some even see her wandering the dimly lit hallways. Unexplained noises such as doors slamming, footsteps, and heavy breathing have been reported by both staff and guests. The feeling of being watched is overwhelming, and there are persistent cold spots throughout the inn, especially in the old cellar. A particularly unnerving event occurred when a guest sat alone in the dining room and suddenly heard a woman's voice whispering, "Leave while you still can." 4. The Angel Hotel, Lymington. In the heart of Lymington lies the Angel Hotel, where guests have reported encounters with the ghost of a monk who once resided here centuries ago. His presence is felt most strongly in the ancient chapel adjacent to the hotel. People say they hear soft chanting in the dead of night, and some have even seen the monk's shadowy figure moving through the chapel or along the corridors. One particularly chilling experience involved a guest who awoke to find the monk standing at the foot of their bed, staring blankly. The hotel's haunting aura is enough to leave anyone with a sense of unease long after they've checked out. Many claim the monk's ghost is most active on rainy, foggy nights when the air is thick with dampness, a perfect setting for an eerie encounter. The Rose and Crown Hotel, Essex. The Rose and Crown is a centuries-old hotel in Essex, and it is said to be haunted by the spirit of a man who was once the landlord. His death, which occurred under mysterious circumstances, has left an indelible mark on the hotel. Guests have experienced strange occurrences, such as glasses inexplicably shattering, doors swinging open by themselves, and the unmistakable feeling of someone watching them. The most chilling story comes from a visitor who was woken in the night by the sound of heavy footsteps entering their room, only to find the bed covers disturbed and no one there. The lingering sense of his presence is hard to shake. Others have reported waking to find their personal belongings rearranged, as if the former landlord were searching for something he never found in life. 6. Ettington Park Hotel, Stratford-Upon-Avon. Ettington Park Hotel is an imposing structure surrounded by a dark history and a wealth of paranormal tales. Guests speak of encountering the ghost of a man in a long coat, known as the Shropshire Ghost. He is said to haunt the upper floors, often seen gliding through corridors in silence, his footsteps echoing behind. One guest reported feeling an icy hand on their shoulder in the dead of night. When they turned around, no one was there. Other guests have heard the sound of someone dragging their feet down the hall, only to find nothing when they look. The ghost presence is pervasive, and many have experienced an unexplainable sense of fear when walking alone through the hotel's shadowy halls. Some visitors have even reported seeing the apparition appear suddenly in reflections or mirrors, intensifying the sense of dread. The hotel's reputation for being haunted is so strong that many guests arrive with a sense of nervous anticipation. 7. Combe Abbey, Warwickshire. Combe Abbey, a former monastery, is a place where time seems to stand still, and so does the presence of a hooded monk who haunts its ancient walls. Legend has it that this monk broke his vows and was buried alive as punishment. His spirit now wanders the abbey, seeking redemption. Guests frequently report hearing the soft chanting of prayers, and many have seen his shadowy figure gliding through the dimly lit corridors. One evening, a guest claimed they saw him standing in their room, staring at them with hollow eyes. The air was icy cold, and the feeling of suffocation was overwhelming. After the encounter, the guests couldn't shake the sensation that they had somehow interrupted the monk's penance. Several visitors have felt a mysterious cold spot settle in certain parts of the abbey, as if the monk's spirit lingers just behind them. The atmosphere remains heavy, and some guests find themselves unable to leave the grounds quickly enough. 8. The Chequers Inn, Smarden. The Chequers Inn in Smarden, built in the 15th century, is haunted by the spirit of a soldier who died under violent circumstances. His ghost is seen pacing the pub's hallways, his footsteps echoing on the wooden floors. Guests have described hearing inexplicable knocking sounds on their doors at night, and some even report that items move on their own. On one particularly eerie night, a guest claimed to have seen the soldier standing near the bar, dressed in his military uniform. When the guest approached, the soldier vanished before their eyes, leaving only the faint smell of gunpowder and a cold draft in his wake. Other visitors have heard unexplained murmurs and whispers late at night, especially around the bar area where the soldier is most often seen. The pub's old, creaky floors seem to reverberate with the ghost's footsteps, unsettling everyone who dares to stay too long. 9. Holt Hotel, Steeple, Aston. The Holt Hotel, with its rich history, is said to be haunted by the ghost of Claude Duval, a notorious highwayman who was executed for his crimes. Guests have often reported hearing the sound of horse hooves in the distance, followed by the rattle of chains. On several occasions, people have seen a shadowy figure dressed in period clothing wandering the hotel grounds. One particularly chilling encounter involved a guest who heard the sound of footsteps following them, but when they turned, no one was there. Then, they saw the figure of Duval standing in the distance, watching them silently. The atmosphere is so heavy that some guests refuse to return, claiming they were followed home by his spirit. Locals speak of an eerie feeling that accompanies those who leave the hotel late at night, with some even claiming to have seen Duval's ghostly figure standing in the distance, staring into the darkness as though still waiting for his next victim. The White Horse, Storrington. At the White Horse in Storrington, the ghost of a child haunts the hotel, leaving behind a trail of eerie occurrences. Many visitors report hearing the laughter of children in the middle of the night, only to find the hotel eerily quiet when they investigate. Others have seen the ghostly figure of a child running through the hallways, vanishing before they can catch a glimpse of their face. One guest described waking up to a soft voice whispering their name, only to find the room empty. The spirit of this child seems both playful and unsettling, leaving visitors with a lingering sense of dread and confusion. Some claim to feel the child's tiny hand brush against their leg, or hear their giggles from afar, as though the child is playing tricks on them. The presence of this mischievous yet unsettling spirit adds an extra layer of fear for those who stay here, unable to shake the feeling of being watched. 11. Dean Court Hotel, York. The Dean Court Hotel in York is known for its haunting of Lady Georgiana, a noblewoman who died in mysterious circumstances. Her restless spirit is often seen drifting through the hotel's halls, especially in the late hours of the night. Guests report hearing faint footsteps, followed by the unmistakable sound of a woman's voice calling out for help. One guest described an encounter where they saw Lady Georgiana standing in their room, her pale face peering out from behind the curtains. When the guests turned to look again, she was gone. The air was cold, and the atmosphere felt suffocating, as though something was desperately trying to communicate. Some guests claim to feel a sudden chill in their room, as if Lady Georgiana is watching them from the shadows, silently waiting. 12. The Woolpack Inn, Chilham. The Woolpack Inn, built in the 15th century, is haunted by the spirit of a former landlady, who is said to knock on the doors of guests who stay in her room. Visitors have reported hearing loud banging noises and the distinct sound of footsteps in the hallway, but when they open the door, no one is there. The most unsettling part of the haunting is the constant feeling that someone is watching you, especially when alone in the building. One guest was so terrified by the knocking that they left the hotel in the middle of the night, unable to shake the feeling of being followed. The strange presence of the landlady's spirit seems to linger long after the noises stop, with some guests even feeling cold hands brush against them in the dark. 13. Castle Hotel, Castleton. The Castle Hotel in Castleton has earned its reputation as one of the most haunted hotels in the UK. The ghost of a man in ancient clothing is often seen wandering the hotel's halls, his footsteps echoing through the night. Guests have described an overwhelming sense of unease when passing by certain rooms, and some have even felt the presence of the man standing at the foot of their bed. One visitor claimed they saw him staring out of a window, his form outlined in the moonlight, before he disappeared as quickly as he had appeared. The hotel has a chilling atmosphere, especially on foggy nights, when the ghost figure is even more clearly visible, vanishing into the mist as if part of the hotel's own dark history. 14. Bestwood Hotel, Arnold, Nottinghamshire. The Bestwood Hotel in Nottinghamshire is known for its strange and unexplained sounds. Guests often hear muffled conversations, footsteps, and other unidentifiable noises, even when no one is around. One particularly eerie incident involved a guest who was awoken by the sound of someone whispering their name, only to find the room completely empty. The unsettling noises seem to come from all directions, making it impossible to pinpoint their source. Visitors often feel a sense of anxiety while staying here, as if something unseen is constantly watching them. Some guests have also reported feeling an overwhelming sense of dread, especially when walking through the hotel's dark corridors, as if they are not alone. 15. MacDonald Berystede Hotel, Sunninghill. The MacDonald. Berystede Hotel is a luxurious retreat that hides a dark secret. The ghost of a Victorian woman, often seen in the dimly lit hallways, has been the subject of many reports. Her ghost is said to cry out in the night, with her mournful sobs echoing through the hotel. One guest, who had stayed in room 42, reported hearing loud sobbing and a feeling of suffocation before spotting the figure of the woman in the corner of the room. The haunting is so intense that some guests refuse to stay in the room again, unable to shake the disturbing sense of grief that fills the air. Her sorrowful presence is often felt in the quietest corners of the hotel, where whispers of her tragic past seem to linger long after the sounds have stopped. These haunted hotels in the UK are more than just places to stay. They're gateways to the eerie. Some of these stories were requested by viewers, so share your haunted spots in the comments. Like, share, and subscribe to Creepy Experience for more spooky tales.